Welcome back, everyone. Welcome to our second episode of the book club. I keep wanting to give it a more creative title, but I feel like book club works just fine.
Radiant Book Club.
Yeah, it's the Radiant Resilience Book Club is what I'm calling it. So welcome, everyone, to episode 2. I'm so excited for this. I have one of my besties, Kellyn, with me today. Welcome back. She's been on the normal podcast many times, so go back and listen to those episodes. But today we're going to have a little bit more fun. We are going to talk about Alchemised by SenLinYu, I think. Oh, she's got her copy too. We are prepared. All right. And if, I don't know. Okay. Well, first of all, if you haven't read Alchemised, do not listen to this episode.
There will be spoilers.
There will be spoilers and very raw discussions about this 1,000-page book.
1024 specifically.
Excuse me, 1,024. This thing is like a freaking weapon.
And why is it so heavy? Like 1,000-page books are not usually this heavy.
No,
but
no. I mean, we talked about that compared to Crescent City. Like,
yes,
those books are huge. Well, you have the soft copies, but I have the hard copies, and they're still half the weight of this book.
yeah. And granted, this is an extra like 200-ish pages because most of the Crescent Cities are like around 800. I think what's the last one? Flame and Shadow is the most because it's like 830 something. But for a 1,000-page book, like Kingdom of Ash is 1,000 pages, and it does not feel. I even like wait. I did like I took Kingdom of Ash and I weighed, and I was like, this is like twice as heavy. So I want to know why.
It's got to be the materials it's made out of, right? Like, it's got to be the, I don't know if it's the, I mean, this seems like a standard cover, or maybe it's the type of paper.
Yeah, I mean, it is like a very unique type of paper, which I really liked. I had like I liked it was like soft, but like felt thinner and everything. We read this for my other book club, other than the Radiant Resilience book club, and
Your in-person book club.
my in-person book club. And one of the girls said that it felt like Bible paper to her. I didn't really get that feeling, but I could see where she was coming from.
I think Bible paper is thinner.
Way
quite a
thinner.
bit thinner. Yeah.
Like you can rip that super easy.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So, all right. Alchemized. So fucking good.
So good.
So, little background on this story for, I mean, I guess if anyone listening has read it, they know. But if you want to spoil it for yourself and not read it, I guess it was a fan fiction on the internet called Manacled before.
Yes.
That she wrote that was a Harry Potter fan fiction book. I guess it was very popular, obviously. So and I think a publisher picked it up is what I think also happened.
I'm not quite sure.
Let's make it into a book. But because of copyright issues, they had to change everything. And I have to tell you, I'm really fucking impressed by this woman who has never written a book before to have, I mean, like, it's one thing to take a world that already exists and build off of that, but to create your own entire system. Now, the story, I believe, is about the same, but like the world building, the magic system, the character names, everything was slightly different. I was very impressed with how she built this up and the magic system she came up with, because it was pretty complicated.
Yeah, and that was the hard part for me in the very beginning. I never read Manacled, but I had like heard about it and talked to one of the girls in my book club had read it, so we chatted about it a little bit. But the magic system this is so unique. It's very different than anything else that I've really read yet, and that was a hard part for me. And I know you talked about this too, that like in part 1, just like starting out, you're like, I found myself reading so slow because I was like trying to like, my brain was trying to figure it out as I was reading, but it's kind of complex. And then as you read, you kind of get used to it too, like what's going on and how things work and like the different like vivimancers, animancy, necromancy, like all the different things. They're like some of like for me, it was like vivimancy and animancy were very similar, but yes, also kind of super different depending on what you were using it for. So Yeah, it was a complex magic system. So also very impressed for somebody who has never written a book to come up with 1,000 pages also. Like,
Although it is a one-off. It is a
yes,
one-off, which is actually kind of nice in this fantasy romance world we've all been thrown into of all these like, series that we keep
right.
reading. So it was a nice one-off. So it does get closed out at the end, which was really nice, I will say.
I do like that part.
But yeah, the magic system was wild. And then the fact that they controlled everything via their hands too, like cuz they put those things in her wrists to like make it so she couldn't do magic either.
Right?
And she was always very concerned about like if she broke a hand or something that she wouldn't be able to use her magic,
Yeah.
which
Well,
was
and then
kind of
there's
crazy.
the oh gosh, what is his name? The general guy that she works with. He's like the one that oh gosh, why can't I think of his name right now? Crowther? Crowther.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so he like his arm is all messed up and he doesn't have his pyromancy skills until she heals him. And
Right.
then he like gets it back. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was really
So,
interesting.
yeah, just fully because I mean, like when you read Harry Potter, they just have magic. It's just like happens. Like if they break an arm, they can still use magic typically.
But
So
it's all through the wand, like you have to have your wand though.
that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. But I think that's the case with a lot of fantasy stories. It's always so hard to learn the new world, the new systems. You do catch on eventually, but like I'm reading that Mistborn series right now by Brandon Sanderson, and that one was really hard for me too. It's kind of similar because they burn like metals. Like she's like, "Oh, I'm burning copper and this is what this does, and I'm burning steel and this is what this." It's like but they like ingest it and then they like burn I don't know, it's really
Oh,
weird. So,
interesting.
it sounds really weird when I talk about it, but it makes sense in the book. But it was the same kind of thing. I was like so confused trying to learn this new world and magic system, which is probably my least favorite thing about fantasy books in general is just like every time I finish a series and go to pick up another one, I'm like, I have to learn all the names, the word, like
Right.
how everything works.
New world, new magic system, new
Yes. So, anyways, I was confused as fuck in part one.
yeah. I mean, I tried to just be like, because you were like, "It's okay, like, don't feel like you need to just, like you'll be confused, it's normal, like, just keep reading." And so, like,
Yeah.
having you told me that, I was like, "Okay, like, eventually I'll get this." I just tried to have faith in myself.
Yeah, and one of my other friends had told me that too. She was like, it's really confusing in the beginning, but she's like, but I think she does that on purpose.
Right. I can see that.
Then part 2, you get the backstory, and I just was dying for those 2 parts to converge. I don't know if you
Same. I love how she split this up because if you were to do like part 1, part 2, part 3, it'd be just like a timeline, of
Yeah,
how everything went. But the fact that you kind of jump into the middle of the story first
yeah,
and then it goes back to like the very beginning, like that lead up to like I'm like, "Well, how does this get to there? Like what?" And I found myself like trying to read through part 2 so fast because I was
yeah.
just like, "But how? I need to know."
Well, and it's honestly, you go on the like full journey with Helena, right?
Yeah.
Because it doesn't remember a lot of it, right? And so
Yes.
then, you're kind of walking that journey too of like, do we trust Kane? Do we not trust Kane? What is this all about? Like, and
Right.
she's just as lost as and confused. And then you get the backstory as she remembers it.
Right.
And then you're like, wow. So I think it was kind of cool to like, I don't know, it was just like a different, unique way of walking the journey with the character for sure.
Totally. Yeah.
Cause I
And
mean, yeah.
yeah, and it's just like it's very interesting because like I mean, it's all this is written interesting to me because it's like it's from Helena's perspective,
Mhm.
but also kind of from different people's perspectives in a way. At least that's how I felt. Like when you're kind of
Yeah.
reading it, like you kind of get a sense of like how Kane is feeling to a certain extent. I mean, I feel like he's such a like different type of character. Like
I
he tends
really
to keep a
like
lot in.
I mean, we'll be like, let's be real. Nobody liked Draco Malfoy, like ever.
Right. Yeah.
I don't even know that he had a redeeming arc. I guess, did he have a redeeming arc in the end of Harry Potter?
Oh gosh,
I
does
don't think he
he?
did. I feel like his whole family still, they were just like assholes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so that's just it, right? Like he never really had a redeeming arc. And so this is like a totally unique. So, obviously this is post the war as if Voldemort had won.
Yes.
And I gotta tell you, I do not like, I love this book, but I do not love the idea of Hermione and Draco ending up together. And maybe
Oh,
that's because Draco never had his, character arc to like him again.
from what I've heard though, it's like Hermione's being used as basically like just breeding purposes because she
Mm.
is,
In Manacled.
yeah, in Manacled. Like, so basically, the story, if you were to take that idea, so but in that, I think it is a little bit different because at our book club, they kept trying to compare like the two books as being the same. And I was like, but
Mhm.
I get that this is based on that, but I think this is also completely separate. Like,
Everybody in your book club read Manacled?
I think only like one or two people had.
Okay.
I know my friend Alex had, and then I think her friend Haley might have too. I'm trying to remember.
I don't know that I've met anybody that's read both. It seems like or at least there's very few people because I mean I have a friend who sent me the PDF of Manacled.
And I think that's only what it is. I don't think it's an actual book.
No, it was just written on the internet. So it was
Yeah.
like a downloadable PDF, I think. And I don't think you can find it now because they released Alchemized. So they want
Oh.
people to buy the book, obviously. But I'm kind of like, I just spent 1,000+ pages on reading this book. I don't know that I need to read Manacled, but maybe it would be interesting to see what the differences are.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I don't think it's nearly as long though, thankfully.
No, I've heard it's a lot shorter because she didn't have to do the world building. It's
True.
all like already built, right? So in
Yeah.
this one, she had to build up the world and the and magic system and everything. What were your thoughts on Luke?
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of went back and forth a lot with him. I think in the beginning, you don't really know much about him because
Hmm.
he's already dead and but then she doesn't remember any of that stuff. And then at the beginning of part two, when like he's basically her world, it's like, Luke and Lila and Soren, like that whole little guard group.
Yeah,
And yeah, I don't know. I just like I feel like I really struggled with like that character dynamic. Like, and
me
I think
too.
yeah, you did also.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and also I think I was trying to compare him to Harry Potter because he's the comparable Harry Potter and I don't know. It's also interesting, I think, to look at the perspective of like these people think they're trying to do good, but then it's also still doing bad at the same time. Like you're still
Right.
at war. You're still like people are still suffering, people are still dying, even. I don't know. I mean, I guess the bad guys won, so there's trying to still make a comeback from that, but
Right. So is this like so if you're comparing this to Harry Potter, would it then be like end of part 2 is like the end of the war where
yeah.
Voldemort wins?
Yes.
And then part 3 is then going into like the
Oh,
after effect or yeah, basically after
I think
Voldemort's won.
all of it is post Voldemort winning, I thought.
Then it would be like Apollo would be Harry Potter.
Yeah.
The guy that Kane like rips his heart out
Yeah.
because then that would be right.
I don't know.
'Cause Hermione and Harry don't end up together,
No. No.
so he's never really like a love interest.
I think that they necessarily I mean, I guess with Luke, she kind of tried to make it seem like they had a thing for each other, but I never really got that reciprocated from Helena. I don't
Right.
think.
Yeah. She never was really like
I mean, I think she loved him as like a friend, a brother. I could see it being more romantic from his perspective, just based on things he was saying and stuff. But
sure.
mm,
And just being so upset that like she would bail on them all the time and
yeah,
everything too.
yeah, which was unfair because she was trying to play her part and not let him in on, playing both sides. Plus, I don't think he would have let her do anything because they would have been like, we need to keep you safe.
Yeah, exactly. When she's sneaking out and going to meet Kane all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
and can't
Yeah.
tell anybody about it. And then like I feel like she's like doing this. She's like forced to do this. Like go
Yeah.
out and meet Kane and like learn this information, be like a messenger. But then at the same time they're like mad at her cuz she's not like doing it right. She's
Mhm.
not getting the right information. She's not like if she gets hurt, it's her fault. I'm like, "What?" Like this is just like the epitome of society hating women. Like, we can't do anything right.
Yeah.
Like, we try it this way. Nope, that's wrong. We try it that way. Nope, that's wrong too. Like, what the fuck do you want from us?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I felt so bad for her through all of that, and I also felt bad for Kane too. I mean, like, what a brutal spot to be. I mean, I'm glad that he was choosing the right side,
Yeah, for
but,
sure.
like, how awful to have to play that both sides all the time. That had to be
Yeah.
exhausting.
I am not somebody who could like people would know. It would be
Hey.
very apparent.
Yeah. Apparently, everyone can read every emotion I have on my face, so I
Same.
would be a terrible deceiver. In fact, Krista used to laugh at me. She's like, "I know you'll just tattle on yourself if you ever do." I'm like, "Yeah, whether it's through my face or my guilty conscience, I would not succeed as a spy or, I wouldn't be able to
A
infiltrate
mole.
anything." But I was also sad at the end that they were just like, one, her contribution was not recorded anywhere. Like,
Right.
her healing and stuff like that was, I think, but, like, and then he's just totally portrayed as the bad guy, and I was glad that their daughter, like, knew the real
Yes.
story,
Yes.
but also, like, if I were her, I'd be like, "Can I set the record straight about my parents, please?" Because
Right. Which you never know. I mean, it does kind of end there. You never know. Like down the line, maybe she does. Like,
yeah,
but
yeah,
yeah, I mean, I kind of got it. Like, I understood why they were okay with that because like, I mean, they were out of the war. They were like away from all of that. They just like, they're alive like cuz that things could have ended like they both could have easily been killed and like especially Kane,
yeah.
and everything too, like her doing everything that she did with the what was that thing called the array thing to
Oh,
like
yeah.
to, like, heal him and or,
Yeah.
like, fix him and everything, like I mean, and there's so many different instances where, like, situation would have happened where, like, the doctor coming in, like, and her manacles were off or, like, the
Yeah.
things were off and, stuff like that, so I feel like the fact that, like, at the end, like, they've survived, they've risen a child, and, if they just get to be able to be together, like, I
And
think that
in
that's
peace.
just
Because, like, how often do we actually get that part of the story? Like, even at the end of all of these series, you're just like, do they really actually go live in peace? But at least with Kane and Helena, they, like, left the world, so they are and, everyone in the but, that also sucks. Everything they knew and everyone they knew, they had to leave because
I mean, pretty much everybody was dead at that point anyway.
well, that's true, and Lila knew that they were alive and still kept coming back to see them, so that's
Yeah.
but interesting to send their daughter back to that world, though.
Right, but it's also like, it's not the same what as what it was. Like
True.
it's not they're not sending her into war, like they're
But, like,
sending her to
doesn't she
school.
have to hide who she is now? Didn't she
That's
go
a
by a
good
different
point.
name?
They didn't really say she didn't really like she just like shows up at the school. They don't really say like what her name is. Or I
And,
guess they say
like,
her first name, but do they
I think they changed her last name because I think because Lila knows who they are, and her son obviously knows who she is, but
Enid?
oh, they changed her name completely. Oh, no.
No, Enid was the daughter because that was Kane's mom's name, so
Okay.
they named her Eden. I do love that, like, Pole so I like, they're both named after their grandparents, which
Yeah.
is super cute. So Apollo and Enid are, like, the kids, but gosh, sorry, I'm trying to, like, find the part where she's like
Introduces her to somebody. She gets
yeah,
introduced to somebody.
was it Penny, the one that was, like, in the hospital, her face was all cut up?
I don't remember.
She's not a very, like, talked about character or Grace, it's a Grace because she's literally only talked about, like, 2 times, but she was in the beginning, and I was almost like, "Oh, is this a character I'd, like, need to, like, pay attention to?"
Mm.
And then she's never mentioned again until like the very end of the book. So I was
I was
like,
gonna say,
never mind.
I don't
Stressed
even
about that
remember
one too
who
much.
she was.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess not. Because they just call her Enid. She's like Enid and
I mean, I would think she would have to she can't go by Farron because if
yeah,
everybody perceives Kane Farron as
like
the
the
bad
bad
guy,
guy. Yeah.
then, and maybe she could go by Helena's last name, but then
Romano. Penny, this is Enid Romano. She's come here to join
mm,
the undergraduate vivimancy program.
yeah,
Cole and I were giving her a tour.
yeah. So they changed her. Yeah, so now she's gonna have to live in this world and not be who she is because of who her parents were.
What is Helena's last name? Do we know that?
Yes, let me see. Marie.
Oh, Marino. That's right. I knew that. Because Farron calls her Marino all the time.
Yeah.
Marino.
Marino. Yeah,
He
you
always says it
listened too, didn't you?
in the audio. I listened a lot in this book just to try to get through it in time. The narrator's voice for this book, I loved it, but for some reason I couldn't listen to it as quickly because a lot of times I'll do like 1.8 speed.
Mhm.
Um, this one I was like closer, but most of the time like 1.2, sometimes
Mm.
1.5. But the way she did Farron's voice, it was kind of as a woman, it was, but she would always be like, Marin.
Yes, but that's why, like, when they nowadays that they're doing, like, the duets and stuff of the audiobooks, the newer
I do
books
like
that are
that.
coming out. Yeah.
Yeah,
'Cause it is weird when a man tries to do a woman's voice and vice versa, like, I don't know, it feels more like you're in the story when you have the 2 different voices completely.
totally. Totally.
So
Yeah.
the book yeah, that Mistborn one I'm listening to also, and I had to slow it down because the guy is, like, super, like, kinda monotone. It's not the best audiobook, but I think it's old because this series is not new.
Oh, okay.
And so, like, when I had it on the higher speeds, I was missing so many I was like, "Wait, I have to go back. Wait, I have to go back." So I finally was like, "Okay, I just need to slow it down a little bit." So I think I'm on 1.6 or 7 or something like that, but I had it on, like, 2, and it was too much. It was too fast. So, yeah, it's kind of funny. It totally depends. There's another one I was listening to a long time ago. I can't remember which one it was, and every time something, like, really exciting started happening, the odd person doing the audiobook started speaking faster.
That was the fourth wing
Was
Iron
it Fourth
Flame?
Wing?
Yeah. Yeah, she would, like if there was, like, a scene where it was, like, action, and
I
she
think you're
would, like,
right.
talk faster, so then I would have to, like, slow it down because I was like, "Wait."
Yeah, because all of a sudden it was like, I was like, "Holy shit, something big's happening and I'm missing it. I gotta go back."
No, yeah, because I remember that specifically with I think it was well, and it was, like, the last part of, Fourth Wing, but definitely parts of Iron Flame too, where I was like, "Girl, stop speeding up when"
She's into it, right? But,
Right.
like, I was like, "Oh, man, for those of us listening on 2 speed, slow it down a notch, man." Okay, so, what made you pick this book up initially?
Well, I it had been on my list for a while. You had read it. I had heard about it from many different people. So it's been on my list, and then it got picked for book club. So that's kind of
Mhm.
the reason. I mean, I had it on. I was gonna get it. I was gonna read Shield of Sparrows and write us as a Starling first, and then potentially do this before I jumped into the Guild Plated Prisoner series, which I started last night.
Oh, yay! We can talk
Yay!
about that at the end.
I mean, I read like one chapter, and then I literally woke up with like the book on my face. So
Well, you know that one chapter.
yes.
Continue. We'll get back to that.
Yes. But it got picked for book club. So I had actually started Shield of Sparrows. And then because this is 1,000 pages, I decided to pause Shield of Sparrows to read this, mostly to make sure that I had it done in time for the book club. At the time, I think I had like 3 weeks to read it before book club. And I hit a personal record and finished this book in 11 days.
So good. I think you even read it faster than I did.
It was I was cruising. There was one point where my husband was like, "I think we might need to have a conversation."
I think that's a testament to how good it was.
It
Like,
was really good, and I wanted to keep reading, and I wanted to, like, see what happened, and
yeah,
but
I was just
yeah.
looking back at my history. I started it March 23rd and then I finished it. Well, let's see, that was 1 week. I think it took me, looks like 14 days.
Oh,
So yeah. So you
beat you by
did, you
3
beat
days.
me.
That never happens.
That's a record for you. And yeah, I mean, I was surprised for myself too, being able to listen to it and read it that quickly. But yeah, like I said, I think that that is a testament to how good it was. Like it's intimidating.
Right.
But I also felt like, I mean, I'd heard things about the book before I picked it up, but I feel like the minute I started reading that, I was like, shit, this is going to wreck me. This is going to be so good and just also rough.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it was and it wasn't. Like, there's parts where you're just like,
Yeah, yeah, for sure. But I don't know. I feel like, I don't know. Do you have those feelings when you start reading books of like, you're like, okay, I know where this is going to go. Like, you're either going to love
"Mm,
it or you're going to be like, it was okay.
right. I don't know. I mean, sometimes like I try not to judge a book until, I'm through it. Or at least like as I'm most the way through it. Especially in the beginning. You never really know. I mean, I feel like there's so much to happen in a book that the way it starts is could be very drastic to how it ends. So I don't know. I feel like the more and more because I have started reading so much more than I ever really did the last 2
Same.
years. Yeah, and you were always like you've always been like a reader. Like I would read books, but honestly, like up until like A Court of Thorns and Roses,
Which
that
is the
just
gateway drug.
oh yeah, yep. I would read maybe like 3 books a year. Like it just wasn't really on my radar as much,
Yeah,
but
I was lucky if I got like a book a month for a long, like if I did 12 books in a year, that was a lot for a while
right?
there. Like, and I feel like there is this like resurgence happening right now. And I don't know exactly why. Because as somebody who like, so I actually hated reading in school, but I think it was
Oh yeah.
because I was being forced to read things I didn't want to read. So then I picked up Harry Potter when I was building my clientele in my like early 20s, and then it just spiraled from there. And I was always with a book after that.
Yeah.
And so that's where I'm kind of like, okay, I've been reading, I've been always reading, and I've always been a sci-fi fantasy nerd also. Let me just put that out there because I feel like there are a bunch of people that have, because of the romantasy stuff, have jumped on that bandwagon that before would have been like, I don't want to read that stuff.
Right. But I like the genre because it can be very different. Like
Yeah.
you can have like the fae or you can have like vampires or a
Mhm.
combination or like I like that it's kind of all over the board
Yeah.
cuz I'm the same. I've always been a fantasy fan and I'm also like a huge vampire girl like
Oh yeah.
Twilight sure whatever.
I love
But like
Twilight. I have no shame in that.
I mean I liked it, but I
The
never
movies
actually
are
read the
awful.
books.
The books were great.
Yeah, I only watched the movies. I
Uh,
didn't ever actually read the books.
the books are better for sure.
Yeah, I've heard, yeah, for sure. I mean, they always are, right? But like True Blood and like, I those are I've always been like anything vampire, I'm like, give me.
You should probably read Direbound then.
Ooh, okay. Yeah.
Dire Wolves and Vampires.
Um, I've heard
Great.
what is it for blood from Blood and Ash? That one's supposed to be vampire-y.
I've heard mixed reviews about that one. I have that first book on my Kindle because I was like, "Oh yeah, I'll read that at some point," but I think it's quite the commitment. I think
Oh,
that
really?
it's a
Is it
huge
it's a
series.
series?
Yeah.
I thought it
Yeah.
was just like one book for some reason.
And I've also heard there's a little too much finger fucking in it.
Good to know.
If you're into that, great. If not, I don't know. That's just what I was told. So they
Well, we'll
overdo
have to
that
find
a
out
little bit.
someday.
Yeah. So, okay. So, did this book live up to the hype for you?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, the first person to tell me about this book was my friend Jen, and she was like, "Oh, my friend said you're gonna have like the worst like book hangover from this book. You're not gonna be able to read anything." Like blah blah blah. I was like, "What happens in this book?" So I was very curious to read it. I personally didn't feel that way. I think mostly because I had paused one book, so I immediately jumped back into my book to kind of figure out like to know what had
Yeah.
happened in there. Because I kinda paused it where I was because I could tell it was about halfway through, so I could tell I was like, "This is about ready to, like, get like, just go. Like, the
Yeah.
storyline's gonna pop off, like, shit's gonna start happening.
So you
So
went from, like, all of Alchemized straight into the exciting part of Shield of Sparrows.
yes, yes, I
I
did.
didn't even think about that. That's like, talk about a friggin' emotional whirlwind.
Oh my gosh, and I, like, once I jumped back into Shield of Sparrows too, it took me, like, a chapter or 2 to be like, "Okay, wait, what is this is a different world, these are different
Yeah, you
characters,
had to
what was
switch your
happening?"
brain.
Yeah, yeah, so it did take me a minute to, like, switch gears and kind of go back, but yeah, I kinda liked that because I just got, like, this story within a story, and so but I did find there was something I was talking to a friend of mine about, and I crossed books. She was like, "Oh, well, like, when this happens," and I was like, "Wait," because I was thinking of Alchemized instead, but yeah, I really liked it. I enjoyed this book. I don't know if I would read it again anytime soon because it is
You
such a
might get through it
commitment.
faster, though. I feel like my rereads always go faster because you kind of already
Sure.
know, so you don't have to focus as hard on
That's
it.
very true. Yeah.
But, there's also the list is 10 miles long of next books to read. That's why I'm like unsure if I want to read Manacled or not because I'm like,
Right.
I essentially know the story,
Yeah.
but like, do I want to jump into that? I don't know. There's so many other things when I just already know the story, basically. I feel
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
so.
exactly.
But I am intrigued by the differences. I would kind of like to know the differences and probably reading Manacled sooner rather than later because then I'll forget everything in Alchemist.
Right.
I've got short-term memory loss for these books. It's well, maybe long-term memory loss. I don't know. I That's why I can reread stuff all the time and I'm like or rewatch stuff all the time because I don't remember shit. So, like when you've been trying to talk to me about Crescent City and I'm like, "Huh? I don't
Well,
remember
yeah, that
that."
was oh gosh. I mean, you were reading that when I was reading Throne of Glass, and that was like
It was like a year ago I read
a
those, I think.
year. Yeah.
Maybe more.
I guess I mean, it took me forever to get through Throne of Glass, so I think I finished about May. April, May, something like that. Because last summer, I was mostly reading the Fourth Wing series, and then I think I had something random in there too, but
Yeah.
yeah.
So do you have a favorite character?
Ooh, that's a good question.
It's so
I mean,
hard in these books because it's like, do you pick the female main character or do you pick the male main character? Or do you pick a side character? Or
yeah, I mean, for me, it'd probably be between Kane and Helena. I think mostly just because, like, you get to know them so well.
yeah.
I feel like all the other characters are like, they're there, but they're not, you don't get to know them as intimately, and everything.
I feel like I had a little bit of a roller coaster with Lila. It was like sometimes I really liked her and sometimes I didn't like her. And then by the end, I really liked her for sure.
Right.
But I think she was a bit much for most of the book.
Yeah, I mean, I think her, like, just, the oaths and everything having to be made to Luke to protect him, and, then she loves him too, and so there's
Mhm.
just, like, that extra layer.
Yeah.
But I don't know, I would probably say Helena might be my favorite character just because I think everybody just underestimates her,
Yeah.
and
She
she's,
was
like,
awesome.
yeah, she's smart, and she just, like, her brain, the way that she can just, like, figure shit out, and she's a really good healer, and, she
And she
can
had
kind of
all of the didn't she have, like, all of the magic? Like, all the different ones? She could
yeah,
control
because
all of
she could
them.
do necromancy, which I think that's because if you can do vivimancy and animancy, that's how you can do, like, you can heal, but then you can also, like,
Mhm,
do necromancy, right?
mhm.
I think. I was actually just looking at this yesterday, it's still just slightly confusing enough, but
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
who was your favorite character?
Probably Helen. I loved Kane, though. I really did love Kane. Like, I love the character arcs when they get, like, the redemption.
Sure.
I don't know, and it's kind of like the underdog. I'm always rooting for the underdog in every situation, even in sports. Yes, I'm rooting for the person least likely to win. And I just think that he was really complex and like having to play both sides. Like how with Moreau too and all his powers, which was essentially Voldemort, like
Yeah.
I don't know, that was crazy. So I really liked him a lot. And then
He was good.
trying to be patient with Helena too, while she's like not remembering anything and she's fighting him and he's like, but you loved me.
Right?
before this. Like,
Which is so crazy. Like, that's kind of like why I wanted to get through part 2 to see, like, I'm like, but how does she forget all this? Like,
yeah,
and she literally does it to herself to like, and to protect him, and everything. And then it ends up being so much longer because then, like, just she's in the tank for like 14 months, but then she like basically erases her whole memory back to like the beginning of Kane. So then that's like what, like 2 years? Because
yeah,
it's like another year worth of like ish, right? I forget. I'd have to go back and look at like the timeline, but
yeah,
I think it's about a year. So she loses like 2.5 years of memory,
yeah,
like
yeah.
that's, yeah, for him to just like be the way that he was with her through all of that. And then she finally starts to remember.
And then when, like, they were forced to, like, make a baby together, that was, like, shattering my entire soul. Like,
Right.
I mean, obviously, when I think that starts happening in part 1, right? Because then it's part 2 when she starts remembering, and that was after the fact.
So the end of part 1, so when she's pregnant, like the
Right.
pregnancy makes her start to remember,
Yeah.
just like the way that the magic is like working within her. So at the end of part 1, she's like, it's like, I have to remember. I have to she's like screaming like, I have to remember, or please remember, or something like that. And then it goes into part 2. And and so then yeah, after that I was just like,
Well, yeah,
what?
so even before you even know that these 2 loved each other, like, you could tell that Kane was uncomfortable with the whole thing. You knew that he was trying to like, I was starting to put together that he was, like, protecting her because, and whether it was a love interest or not, like, you could see him kinda being like, "Okay, this shit is wrong. Like,
Yeah.
everything we're doing is wrong," and so he was kind of skirting the line that whole part 1.
Right.
And then when I was just like, he goes off to vomit afterwards, she's crying her eyes out, and then when you find out that, like, they were in love,
Yeah.
and then he was forced to do that to her, at, like,
Right.
just heartbreaking on so many levels.
Right. Well, because when you read it, like, as you're reading it, it's like, basically kind of a rape scene, like
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, it's not like she's like fully resisting, but she doesn't want it to happen, but she knows she has no other choice. But
and
then,
he
so when
knows
you're
she has
reading
no
it,
other choice either.
exactly. And so as you're reading it, you're having like this is not okay, kind of emotions about it. But then you learn that yeah, they like have fallen in love and everything. So then you're thinking back on it, it just like breaks your heart because like yeah, she can't remember, but like in the long run she wants it. She wants the pregnancy. She wants to have his child because then once she remembers and then but then he's struggling with it because he's like, "Well, I fucking had to rape you." Like,
Yeah.
"Are you
I
sure
mean,
you want
I guess
that?"
the nice thing is that once she remembered, she probably, like, I think she forgave him and knew that it wasn't his fault, and then she's like, "Oh, well, I love him." But, like, going back to that moment, just so many emotions.
Yes. Yeah. Knowing that it's so multi-layered and
Yeah.
very different for each one of them too, like
Because he knows he didn't forget anything,
yeah,
and then but he's having to, like, tiptoe this line because she thinks he's the bad guy.
right.
So crazy. And just again, I really gotta give this author so much credit. Like, she fucking crushed it, man.
Yeah, she did.
And I think they're making a movie of this or a TV show or something. We saw that on.
So the rumors say. I'm curious to see if they're doing a movie, like that's a lot to fit into
Yeah,
one
it's
movie.
it's too much for one movie for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
they broke Dune into like 3 different movies or something. 2
But isn't
movies.
that's multiple books though, isn't it?
It is, but the 2 new movies are part 1 and part 2 of book 1.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I've never
Yeah.
read Dune, and I actually still have yet to see the second movie. Don't hate me.
I don't hate you. I just love them. I think but I understand too that, like, most people I've talked to that have not read the books, it's such a complex story. And if you don't understand the background, it is kind of confusing to understand the world and stuff from the movies. So,
Sure.
it is harder, but I freaking love those movies. I've rewatched them so many times, and the freaking transformation that Timothy Chalamet does with that character. When I watched the first movie, I was like, "Oh, he cannot play Paul. He doesn't have it in him to play Paul. He doesn't have it in him just watching him in the beginning, but the transformation, he did so good.
Oh, okay.
So you got to watch the movie too.
Yeah.
I
Well,
think
maybe
the
I'll.
third one is coming out this fall too.
Yeah, I just saw a preview for it recently.
And that is the next book, I think. So,
Okay. How many books are there?
well, that's a complicated question too, because it's like the main trilogy, but then there's like a bunch of other ones that are within the world and different
Like kind of like
timelines.
side
But
stories.
there's Dune, there's Children of Dune, and then Dune Messiah, I think are the main three. And the first one is the biggest one, which is
Oh, okay.
unusual.
Yeah.
They're smaller after that. And I think there's quite the time jump between the first one and the third one. So it's been a while since I read those, but really great sci-fi books. Some of the best. Okay, let's do a fun rapid fire question round.
Okay.
Are you ready? About Alchemized specifically.
Okay. Yes.
You're not ready.
It just came apart.
How rude.
All right. Okay. Now I'm good.
Okay, we're going to do a fun rapid fire round. All right, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, rated out of 10.
Ooh, 8.7.
Would you reread it?
On the road.
Audiobook or physical book?
Ooh, physical book.
Favorite quote?
Marin. Oh gosh, I don't know.
No, that's great.
You pain me. There was one point where Kane says, or something, the pain you've caused me, or something like that. Whatever he says when like he kisses her, when like it's still part one, he like,
Yeah.
she goes in and he was like, he was drunk. It was like when it's like the double full moon. And it's like
Yeah.
crazy energy or whatever. And he's drunk and she goes in and finds him in his room and he like kisses her and
Oh,
she like has a
yeah.
moment where she likes that he's like kissing her and she
Yeah.
kind of moans. And
Yeah.
he's like, Marino, you pain me or something like however he says it.
So good. One word review.
Ooh, unique.
Interesting. I like that. It is. It's very unique. Who would you recommend it to?
I mean, most everybody, especially if you like the romantasy genre. If
It's
you're,
not super spicy though.
it is not.
Disclaimer.
Not super spicy if you like kind of the darker side of things, because it is like, I mean, it's not, sunshine and rainbows. Like it's full on war for all of the book.
Yeah. All right. And last one, what book should readers pick up next?
Ooh, Alchemized?
After Alchemized?
Oh, after Alchemized? I was like, wait, are we trying to convince people to read this book or what are we reading next?
What's next?
My personal one was Shield of Sparrows because that was great.
Yeah. And you were halfway through that already.
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk about that real quick. I talked a little bit about it in my last episode. So, I mean, you loved both of those books.
I did. I kind of wish there was a little bit more spice, personally.
Yeah, well, that one was a slow burn too. Shield of Sparrows was quite the slow burn because
It was.
she, again, spoiler alert, she thought she was married to someone else, but attracted to someone else. So.
Exactly.
And Xavier wasn't sleeping with her, even though he was supposed to be her fake husband.
Right.
So.
Right. I think because Ransom picked her. Like there's a reason why he like that whole first scene basically like plays out the way it does because he sees her jump off the cliff and he's like, I want you.
Yeah.
And then her finding out that like her feelings for her attraction and her feelings for him and all this stuff is like completely valid because, well, you're who I'm married to. So perfect.
Which is wild. I couldn't believe that they pulled that off, especially with his green blood. Like,
right.
They hid that well.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and she even like mentions it that like, and the Voster, so like the high priest is there and he knows of, everything. And so when like, because she says like he was really quick as soon as like Xavier signed his name, like he like rolled it up and like took it away, snatched it before like I think anybody else could have seen. But because obviously Xavier knows or Dre, whatever his real name is, and Ransom knows, and then like the high priest knows, but nobody else would know. So
yeah. And then the whole second book, they're pretty much separated. So you don't get the spice with that either.
I know. But you kind of get it with like, so Caspia and Andreas, you kind of get it with them a little bit, but also I have to give credit to this author because I was, and even through the first book too, like, when you're like reading through a book, you kind of start to be like making predictions of like, maybe this is going to happen or this is going to happen or could it go, this character's this or whatever. But she is so good at making me think things are going to go one way. And then last minute, I'm like, what? Wait, what? Completely changes
It took
projection.
me fucking forever to figure out that that second book was a different timeline. Or two different timelines. And I feel like such a dummy because I talked to all these book readers that figured it out like way sooner than me. That's why I was so excited that it took you longer too.
Just gonna say, I was like, it wasn't even until probably like 3/4 of the way through the book.
Yeah.
It was like literally that last set because I remember it was on Friday. I was like, I still have 70 pages left. I just want to like,
I know. And I
figure
was
it
like,
out.
ooh, she only has 70 pages left. That means she hasn't figured it out yet because she hasn't texted me about it.
Starting to like, and because then, so my friend Alicia just finished, she had read Shield of Sparrows, but she hadn't read Ritus of the Starling yet. And so she audioed it. Like, she finished that book in like 2 days listening to it.
Wow.
I think just as she was working, she like blew through it. But she texted me something on Friday that kind of made me like stop and think for a second that she thinks that Xandra is the one-eyed werewolf that bites
Yeah. The sister.
Ranson. Yeah,
Mhm.
the cousin.
I also had that vibe.
Yeah, but I honestly, for the longest time, I just like I was convinced that Caspia was the warrior that Odessa was supposed to find. Even
Yep.
after she meets Thora and
Yep.
like that whole thing, I was still convinced that like because she like helps her, but then as soon as Ransom comes along, then like they like basically take, I mean, they go to Quintus to like get their money and then they're gone. So I kept just being like, well, this warrior was supposed to help her for more of something, and the fact that she's come and gone. So like, and they were heading to Quintus, and at the same time, like Caspia and Andrea or Andreas are heading to Quintus. I was just in my mind, I was like, oh, this is like her. For some reason I kept thinking it was going to be like her sister, like her mom had come to
Yeah.
Calandra like in the past and left because she kept talking about like her mom left like 20 some years ago and like never came back. And so I kept thinking like Odessa and Caspia were sisters, but like
Yeah.
had like different dads, kind of thing. Like, but because their mom had like the three girls in Nelphinix, however you say it,
Hmm.
and then went to Calandra and then had Odessa and then died. Like that's where my mind was at. And then I was in with a client and just like had a realization moment. I was like, oh my God. And it's only because of like what she talks about with the king or with Andreas, he ends up being the prince or king. And he talks about like when they get to Quintus and he's like, oh, my father is good at spending other people's coin or something like that. And Odessa has mentioned that her grandfather was the one that like plated the castle in gold and her
Right.
father like didn't, he just like amounted wealth. He didn't spend a lot of it kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so that's where I was like started thinking, I was like, is he like at first I was like, is he maybe like her a brother or like what? I was like, but no. And then but so like the wheels were turning, but just clearly not enough.
It didn't hit me until they said she was pregnant. When Caspia, they said she was pregnant, I was like, wait, when did that happen? And then that's when I was like, my gosh, this is different timelines because then we start talking about, then you start figuring it out. But when they were running around the castle around the same time, I'm like, would they meet already? Why
I
have
know
they
that's
not
where I was.
met? They keep passing each other and like, how are they missing this? I don't know. That was frustrating. And I gotta tell you, I think my only gripe can't get on the train of the dad having this redemption arc. Like, he was such an asshole that entire first book to her, and even this whole second book. And I liked Andreas, obviously.
Yeah.
But now it's like, now we understand why he did what he did. So it's okay. And now he's nice again. And I'm like, well,
I mean, I think yes and no. I mean, she kind of leaves it, which obviously there's the book 3 comes out in March, so we'll see. I don't think he's fully had like I wouldn't call it a redemption arc. I think he just like, he
But are
was
we
being,
gonna get that? Is that what where we're gonna go now? It's like, okay, we
I don't
understand
know,
him and why but he treated her like shit because of he just was so in love with the mom. I mean,
because he was trying to protect her and, keep her a secret,
but he
you
didn't.
know. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I think he's just like he's so heartbroken that he had to like kill the love of his life and like clearly he's still cuz even Margot mentions it several times that like he's in love with a ghost. Like he'll never
Mhm.
stop loving, her mom and like this that and the other. So, and then he like says he's like, well, cuz she asks if May and Arthie are like her siblings. And he's like, I let the kingdom think what they want, but the last person to share my bed was your mom. And so I think it's just like, I wouldn't necessarily call it a redemption arc as more of just like a,
Now we understand him.
yeah, now you understand why he was being such a dick about it all. Like
Yeah.
it was done out of love, which I know is like not exactly usually like you're like, but that's not just tell me things. But I feel like that's always in like these fantasy worlds. Like some character is mad at some other character because they lied to them and
Ugh.
didn't tell them the truth. Like in almost every, I can tell you,
It is a common trope in all of these romantasy where the female main character gets mad at the fucking male main character, and it's like you said, it's because they weren't told something or whatever. And I think it's the thing that drives me the most nuts because I'm just like, I understand we have to, go all along for this ride. And that will all play a role, down the road, I'm sure. But like,
right,
we all know they're gonna be in love. We all know it's gonna end up that way. And,
right,
like, fucking get over yourself. Like, it made me mad in Throne of Glass or, ACOTAR when she was mad at him for not telling him they were mates.
right,
What was another Fourth Wing pissed me the fuck off in Iron Flame when she was mad at him, like, the whole time. I'm like, would you have okay, in all of these instances, none of these females would have, like, taken it well if they had learned that sooner. It wouldn't
right, exactly. And
like,
I
it
feel like that's
happened
always the case.
yeah, it happened when it was supposed to happen,
Exactly. Like,
and
you are on a need to know basis, and once you need to know,
I feel
you'll
like
know.
these guys usually have a good reason, like, Fourth Wing, it was like he has this power that is outlawed and they kill people for, and, like,
Yeah.
that's why he kept it a secret.
Yeah, exactly. And there usually is a reason, for sure. Obviously with like Shield of Sparrows, like, they use like the body double
Yeah.
basically, kind of thing. I feel like there's going to be cuz like yeah, what is going on with Alisaria? Like all and now all the orbits thing, coming into play and all of that. Like I'm very curious to see where the third book goes
Also the Crux, like, the Crux are obviously, like, those people from the other world.
well,
Or
not all of them, because 'cause they're the swifts. They're like that bird
right,
in Nelphenix, but then when they migrate to the migration is like their mating, like they fly off to go
right.
mate, but
And
when they
they
come to Calandra, because like the magic is corrupted, like that's why they turn evil.
I mean, they destroy everything.
Yeah.
And everyone, and, like, so that'll be interesting to see where she takes all of that.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
I'm very curious to see what happens with so many different things
Yeah,
in the 3rd
yeah.
book.
Yeah, and we have to wait well, at the time we're recording this, March of 2027, I think, which hopefully we don't have to wait longer, but
Right. I mean, she already posted on her Instagram. She was like she had the 2 books and then it said like the end on
yeah,
her computer. And
yeah.
then the 3rd book announcement got announced like what, a couple weeks later?
Yeah, but I'm saying what if she pushes the release date?
I hope not. I think, sometimes I think like you kind of want to release books, just to keep your audience. Like if you postpone too much, like you're
I
going to lose
mean,
people.
don't get me started on I
I
think
know you could go down.
my last episodes, I went on a rant on Patrick Rothfuss and George R. R. Martin. Those stupid men. Get these series finished. And now I have
Right.
PTSD from it because now, Kelly Hart postponed the Quicksilver, which again, fine, another year. Like, I want a good book for sure.
Same.
I respect that she's been struggling, mental health wise and all of that. Absolutely don't want that for these authors.
Yeah.
But please don't make it go 20 years like these two
No, I
dumb
don't think
men.
she's going to do that for sure.
Well, anyways, okay, so Guild is next.
Yes.
Plated Prisoner, which I loved. I've heard mixed reviews from some people, but I really, really liked it. So
Yeah.
I'm so excited to see what you think of it and your theories on it and everything too.
Well, I will have to let you know. I'm literally one chapter in, so
Which
I mean,
I texted you when I read that first chapter because I mean, this isn't a spoiler. This is literally the first chapter of the first book, and there's a fucking orgy.
Yep.
So,
Yep. I mean, I started reading chapter 2, but I think I made it like 2 pages in before I woke up with the book on my face. So,
Oh, yeah.
I was tired.
We all do that a lot. I'm just going to read a few chapters before I go to bed. And I'm usually doing like my phone with my Kindle because Colin's usually sleeping next to me. And so I don't want to disturb him with a light. And I always end up being like on the back. And then I wake up, I'm like, I should probably put this away.
Yep, pretty much.
Okay, so Alchemized. Fantastic book. Do you have any
Indeed.
other thoughts or opinions on that you wanted to share before we go?
No, I really liked the book, the feel of the book. Did I mention that? I was obsessed with the feel of the book.
Kellen's favorite part is how the book, and not by reading it, just physical feel.
I mean, like the dust cover is like, it's just that unique texture.
It is. You're right. It's like, I don't think I paid attention to the dust cover. I think I took it off while I was reading it which
kept
I do
sliding.
that a lot because then I don't want the dust cover to get like smushed. So,
Right. Yeah.
But I take it off. But those pages. Getting you excited?
Totally.
Oh, yeah. Great book. Highly recommend. Can't wait to see if they do a movie or a TV show.
Yeah.
And then Shield of Sparrows, also rate that one out of 10.
Ooh, 9.6.
What is okay, we're about halfway through the year. What has been your favorite book so far?
Ooh, what have I read so far this year?
I know.
I've actually read a decent amount. I mean, I read Crescent City, all 3 Crescent City. I did love Crescent City. Can I just say Crescent City or do I have to pick a specific book? Probably say Crescent City. The only reason I wouldn't say Shield of Sparrows or Write Us yet is because like there's still things to come. But I felt like I really enjoyed Crescent City from the very beginning. I know people told me like the first book was really hard to get through. But honestly, I jumped in and I loved it from the beginning. So that was my own opinion. So I think so far, probably Crescent City, maybe Alchemized second. No, actually, I'm going to throw a one-off in there and say Heated Rivalry second.
You read that this
and then
year?
Alchemized. I'm sorry?
You read that this year?
Yeah, it was our book club book back in January. So I did Heated Rivalry. It's technically the second book, but I did that first because we picked that one specifically. So it's the Game Changer series. It's like that hockey romance. But they made this series out of Heated Rivalry. And the show actually does follow. So Kip and Scott, which are the first book, called Game Changers, and then Heated Rivalry is technically the second book. I have not read the other ones. There's like 6 in the total series, but
so have you heard of this off-campus one?
I've heard of the series. I have not watched the series yet, and I have not read the books either. So
same. And I have heard mixed reviews. I have one friend who read the books and then is watching the series and hates the series. She just said it's so cheesy and overdone. And then I have another friend who has only watched the series and not read the books, and she's obsessed with the series. And then I have one other friend who did both, and she actually said she thought that the series was done pretty well. So it's lots of conflicting reports. I don't know if it's one I'm going to read, though. I might just jump into the TV series and see how.
That's how I feel, honestly. Yeah. There's so much I want to read that I'm like, if I can watch something and
that's not really my genre. Like, not that I wouldn't enjoy it, but I think I just prefer the fantasy romance stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But I also have not read or seen Heated Rivalry. So
I mean, I listened to it. I just listened to the first 2 books, and I hated the author, the narrator's voice. He was really annoying, but the books they were just fun. They were kinda, super,
Yeah.
cheesy in
Yeah.
a way.
Yeah. All right. Well, we got to get going.
I know, I'm watching the clock, don't worry.
Okay. Oh no, there's 6 minutes. I didn't want to rush you off, but
No, you
thanks so much for coming on. And
Thanks
maybe
for
we'll
having
do
me as
this.
always.
Yeah, maybe we'll do this again once you read Guild. We can, although
Yeah.
by the time you finish that one, I might forget everything from that one because I did read that. I think in January I started those.
Yeah, because you
Um,
started it on your trip, so
yeah, which made it really easy to get through them faster because I was doing a lot of listening and reading, and I have a lot of downtime and stuff on those trips. So
sure.
I powered through. But I'm so excited for you to read those. I'm
Yeah.
glad you enjoyed Shield of Sparrows and Alchemized. And yeah, we'll definitely do this again. This was fun.
Yeah, thanks for having me as always.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you on the next book club episode.